it's Brian with Cajun Cardboard coming at you from the great state of Louisiana on Sunday, July 3rd in the afternoon. I wanted to do a quick 10 most intriguing off-season moves that I have seen thus far. Remember, we're only 4 days into this craziness. We still haven't seen where Durant's going to end up. We don't really know what the full Kyrie situation is going to be. There's been some rumors, about him finding his way to the Los Angeles Lakers. There's a couple other guys that we don't know if the shoe's going to drop, if there's something else going on here, especially with that Minnesota situation. But here's my 10 most intriguing offseason moves thus far. And again, remember, these aren't in order necessarily of best. These are just moves that I have something to say about, and I think a certain way, one way or the other about. Some of these moves I may think are terrible moves, but we're going to talk through it. So let me get you guys over to the slideshow, and let us begin. Move number 10. We've got Andre Drummond agreeing to a 2-year, $6.6 million contract with Chicago. So first and foremost, I have this on my list as the 10th most intriguing. Again, I realize Drummond is not what he used to be. I realize Drummond is not an NBA starting caliber center anymore. I realize that Drummond is probably not going to change the ultimate trajectory of the Chicago Bulls. But $6.6 million on a 2-year contract, that's $3.3 million a year. That is less than 1/5 of what Luguentz Dort makes for Andre Drummond, who is going to give you one of the best rebounding rates of any big man in the entire NBA. I think that's a fantastic pickup at an incredible price tag for the Chicago Bulls as a backup to Nikola Vucevic. That's just a really good pickup. 6.6 is like nothing. If he'd have signed for 2 years, 13.2, twice that amount of money, I would not have really thought much of it. I still would have thought it would have been a pretty decent pickup for the Bulls. But to get him for that price is absolutely paltry. I mean, that's ridiculous when there's guys in the league that are making $50 million plus for Andre Drummond to be a absolutely solid backup center for, $3.3 million a year. I just thought that was a great pickup by the Bulls. Again, that's probably not going to change their fate. They're still going to have to get through the newly emboldened Boston Celtics and the surging Milwaukee Bucks, who've done a couple of good things as well, which we'll see later on our list. But that's number 10 on my list, guys. Let me know what you think about that. Number 9 on my list, another, might have gone off the radar. Not that huge of a deal, but Bobby Portis is the heart and soul of my Milwaukee Bucks. Picking him up on a $12 million contract for 4 years really just solidifies that backup center, spot start, power forward / center, jack of all trades. He can give you offense. I mean, honestly, if Bobby Portis has to start 15 games in a row for you at the power forward or the center position during the course of a season because of injuries or some other type of malady that, afflicts Robin Lopez or Giannis or something like that, he is a more than adequate starter in the NBA, and he's a flexible player. He's a fantastic positional defender, a little bit gravity bound, not the most explosive athlete, but as nasty gets. The fans love him. He's like a poor man's Draymond who doesn't have a big mouth and annoy you. So Bobby Portis signing 4 for $49 for the Bulls. With the Bucks. As a Bucks fan, I'm absolutely elated. I love that we've locked him up for 4 years. I think that is, if something does happen, it's an easily tradable contract if the Bucks want to go in a different direction. But I like that he's going to be there for 4 more years alongside Giannis in 4 of what should be Giannis' prime years, where we can take 4 shots at winning an NBA title. That's number 9 on my list. Again, those first 2 are nothing crazy special, nothing marquee about them, but I like both those pickups specifically for the price point that was paid for those players. Let's keep that in mind. Number 8 on my list is the first, what I think is a really big deal. This is John Wall agreeing to a 2-year, $13.28 million contract, so about half of what they just paid Bobby Portis. $4 million less per year than what they pay Luguentz Dort in Oklahoma City. More on that to come. John Wall making $6.6 million a year to play with an absolutely troublesome, dangerous threat in the West. If everybody is healthy, again, with the caveat, open quotes, if healthy, close quotes, this could be a really big deal. Again, we have not seen what John Wall is in comparison to his old self, but this was a 20 and 10 guy, a high 20s and 10 guy in the past when he was running the show in Washington. There is no question that he has been an awful teammate in the past throughout most of his career. He was spoiled, he was entitled, he was a me-first player, but there is no question that the dude can put up filthy numbers. I don't know what the Clippers are going to do as far as starting Wall or starting Reggie Jackson. I get the vibe Reggie Jackson, who had a brilliant playoffs and another really good season for the Clippers, is probably not going to be thrilled. I also don't get the vibe that he's a real team player. I remember he was kind of a malcontent back in those OKC years when he was coming off the bench and Westbrook was starting. I don't know how the Clippers are going to handle that situation with Wall and Reggie Jackson. There's no doubt that Reggie Jackson can slide over and play some too. But, of course, if you're the Clippers, you're hoping that you've got, a healthy Wall, a healthy Reggie Jackson, but also, a healthy Kawhi Leonard and Paul George right there at the 2-3 or 3-4 or whatever you decide to do. Really flexible, really malleable, a lot of different directions that the Clippers can go and beat you. If this team's healthy, they are unquestionably a serious factor in the West. Again, if healthy, that's always a big deal with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard and John Wall for that matter. John Wall's been sitting there for a really long time. Let's see what he looks like. Let's see what his body looks like. Let's see if he buys into a team concept for the first time ever. We shall see. That was number 8 on my list. Number 7 on the list is just a simple signature on a dotted line by Bradley Beal. This is newsworthy just because nobody really know what the hell Bradley Beal is doing up there. Is he just super loyal? Does he like just catching paychecks? Because he's got no chance to win. He signed a 5-year, $215, which is about $43 million a year max contract with Washington. Big money for Bradley Beal. Congratulations to him and his family. Not that he was really hurting for money anyway, but obviously a monster max contract. Unfortunately, he's got to play in Washington, which is like a wandering zombie in the forest in the Walking Dead movie. They have got no direction, no foundation, no core, no future, no excitement. They continuously miss on prospects. I really don't know what Bradley Beal's posture is. That's kind of like the big question mark up there. Is he just that loyal? Like the same thing with Damian Lillard. Are they just that loyal? I mean, they're on teams that cannot contend for a title. I mean, there is no question. There is no chance Portland with Lillard and Simons as the focal point of that team, or Bradley Beal in Washington with who the hell else knows who else he's got. No chance that any of those teams can make any noise in the West or East, respectively. But this is intriguing, right? And so this is our top 10 most intriguing. The real question mark is can Bradley Beal be on the move sometime during the season, once he realizes his team sucks? If he hasn't figured it out by now, he may never figure that out. I don't know. We've heard about Bradley Beal, to the Mavs, and Bradley Beal to the Heat, and Bradley Beal to the Lakers, and damn near Bradley Beal to every team because he's that guy that puts you over the edge. I even heard Bradley Beal to the Bucks in a Chris Middleton deal, which I would probably not necessarily be in favor of, but let's see what happens with Bradley Beal up there in Washington. Him locking in for 5 years at $215. Again, I know this is going to sound crazy, but $43 million for Bradley Beal isn't that crazy when other guys are out there signing for $53 million. I like Bradley Beal. I think he's got prime years left. Zion Williamson hits close to home, right? As a Baton Rouge native, the great state of Louisiana. Obviously, I want to see the Pelicans succeed, and if I'm going to make a trip down I-10 south to New Orleans to go catch a game or two in the city of New Orleans, I want to make sure I'm watching Zion Williamson play. There's a reason I only went to one game last season out of 41 home games, or I guess 43 home games because they made the playoffs. Zion wasn't playing, and he checks a big box, which is you never know what you're going to see. He's a huge element of excitement. It's not a great fit. I mean, him next to Jonas Valanciunas, 5 years, 192. With the ability to make 231, just like Darius Garland, who didn't make the list, but obviously could have made the list as well. But I guess everybody expected Garland to get the max because he's done everything he needs to do to show the Cleveland Cavaliers he's a franchise point guard, super efficient point guard of the future. But hopefully they put some weight, considerations in here for Zion, some games played considerations. He's got some benchmarks that he needs to hit for lots of different categories just to keep him on track. I've heard some not so great reports coming out of there from some people here locally just kind of about how he's carried himself lately. Unapologetic. You just want to see the kid take it seriously, perfect his craft, take his body seriously, and put in a good 70 to 75 games this year and just stay healthy. That lineup with, first of all, they've got a tremendous bench mob, but the starting lineup with CJ McCollum, who's not really a true point, but point. Brandon Ingram can play some point forward. Herb Jones as just an insane 3-and-D on a great rookie contract. And then Zion and Jonas Valanciunas. That's a nasty starting five. I know it's not a perfect fit. It's kind of like Minnesota light where you've got two bigs that can't shoot at all from the three-point line. But, Zion is the great X factor. Is Zion going to be 27 and 10? Or is Zion going to play 19 to 25 games and break something or eat somebody, or you're just fall asleep on the bench? You never know what you're going to get from him. Obviously, we're all hoping for a healthy Zion because it's great for not only the hobby, but for the NBA in general. So that's an intriguing sign right there, and that's why that was number 6 on my list. Number 5 on my list, Jalen Brunson to the Knicks. I mean, this is the worst-kept secret, in the NBA. Everybody knew this was going to happen. We've been talking about it for weeks. Well, it finally did come to fruition. By my estimation in Cajun math, that's $26 million a year. They're banking that Jalen Brunson can be the man. In Dallas, there's only one the man, and its name is Luka Doncic. But can Jalen Brunson be that answer to the Knicks, long point guard search of an absolute rock-solid foundational point guard? I like the idea of Brunson there. He's a very versatile point guard, even though he's a little munchkin. Looks like a little hobbit. He's a little bit bigger than you think he is, but he's just super savvy. He's got an old man game. He's going to age well, kind of like Fred VanVleet, just that kind of doughy, short, intelligent, slippery point guard who's going to just really age well because of the way he plays. I like Brunson. I've always liked his IQ. We coached against him in the EYBL during my brief tenure as a recruiting coordinator for an EYBL team here in Louisiana, and I got to see him firsthand. He looked like an old man when he was 17 years old and a junior in high school. He's just really intelligent. He's really a brilliant player. The Knicks are known to take massive swings at players who may not be marquee 100% locks and take a chance. So that's what they're doing on Jalen Brunson. I like the fact that he'll have Jalen Rose there, as almost like a mentor to kind of guide him along. And did I just say Jalen Rose? Sorry, Derrick Rose to be a mentor for Jalen Brunson. So Jalen Brunson and R.J. Barrett. Let's see how they do from a chemistry standpoint, and let's see if Jalen Brunson can kind of catapult and give that Knicks team the impetus to move up in the standings in the East. I'm not thinking they're a serious contender because there's too many other really good teams. Next on my list at number 3? No, number 4. I just think this is the worst signing of all time. It makes no sense to me. An incredible backcourt combination of Josh Giddey and SGA. Luguentz Dort is, I like him. He's kind of like a Marcus Smart, only slightly more athletic. He's got kind of like that Patrick Beverly, Marcus Smart, Draymond Green mold. I get he's the heart and soul. I get you need toughness. I get you need that lockdown perimeter defender. I just can't believe they gave this dude $17 million a year. Like, that's mind-blowing to me for a team that has no chance to win anything at all. It is literally like a G League Ignite team in Oklahoma City with SGA. You got Chet coming in, the human skeleton coming in. We're going to see what kind of excitement he brings. It's a fun team to watch on NBA League Pass. Stay tuned. I'm going to come out with my top 10 NBA League Pass teams to watch just from an entertainment standpoint. But Luguentz Dort for $17 million a year, to me, is just absolutely preposterous. I can't justify it. I just think it's an absolutely horrible signing due to the price point. If he'd have signed for $40 million, I don't think anybody would have batted an eye, right? $8 million a year would have seemed more realistic. Maybe I'm missing the boat here. Let me know in the comments if I'm crazy. But if you're not winning anything, go out and try to find the next Tracy McGrady or Gilbert Arenas or Bradley Beal or Lillard or Anthony Simons. Don't give that money to Luguentz Dort. That's not the answer. It might be an answer for a team like the Bucks or, a team like the Sixers or something like that. But that's not what OKC should be looking to spend money on, in my opinion. Number 3 on our list is Malcolm Brogdon. This is an absolute monster deal. Malcolm Brogdon was nearly 50-40-90. He is rock solid. He's a consummate professional. He checks every box from the point guard position, shoots at a very efficient rate, doesn't need the ball in his hands 24/7. He can slide over and play the two. He's a plus NBA defender of at least 2 or 3 positions because of how just damn strong the kid is. He was traded to Boston for Daniel Tice, Aaron Nesmith, Nick Stauskas, Malik Fitz, Jawan Morgan, and a 2023 first-round pick, which will probably be a bottom 5 pick in the first round. In other words, a bag of Doritos is what Malcolm Brogdon was traded for. I don't have any idea what the heck the Pacers were thinking. They could have gotten so much more from Malcolm Brogdon. This scares the hell out of me as a Milwaukee Bucks fan. Malcolm Brogdon playing the point instead of a horrible IQ Marcus Smart is an incredible upgrade for the Boston Celtics. An already elite defensive team just got even more elite when you plug Malcolm Brogdon into that starting lineup. Now you can, he can even play off the ball. I mean, there's a million things you can do with Malcolm Brogdon. He's a massive upgrade over Derek White. Now Marcus Smart can kind of become the Derek White. Who knows what Boston can do? They're flexible. They're good. They scare the hell out of me. Not happy about this trade, but that's why it's very intriguing because Boston picked up a borderline all-star type player. Remember, this guy was Rookie of the Year, and they gave absolutely nothing in return, in my opinion. Number 2 on my list. Getting to the big boys, right? There's 2 really big trades, obviously, at number 2 and number 1. Number 2 is Dejounte Murray, and I'm going to read this out. Dejounte Murray goes from the Spurs to the Hawks for Jock Landale, nothing. Danilo Gallinari, who was already bought out by the Spurs, so they had no interest in him. A 2023 first, which was Charlotte's pick, which is not going to be a good pick. A probably not a lottery pick because they're a playoff team. A 2025 pick, which is Atlanta's pick and unprotected, but presumably Atlanta will be a very good team by 2025 unless the front office screws this up. A 2027 first-round pick, again, Atlanta unprotected. Who the hell knows whether they're going to be good in 2027. And then a 2026 pick swap with San Antonio. So Dejounte Murray to Atlanta. The real question here is, why, from a San Antonio standpoint? The one guy that you knew was an absolute stud was Dejounte Murray. He was 20 plus and then like 9-9, or 20 plus and then 8-8. Was getting better as a shooter, is probably a top 10 perimeter defender in the NBA. He's in his prime. I don't understand it from the San Antonio standpoint. I would re-sign this guy over anybody else on that team. From an Atlanta standpoint, it begs the question, okay, he can't shoot the ball super proficiently. Is he a great guy off the ball? Is he going to slide to the 2? Is Trae Young going to slide to the 2? That's a question Atlanta's going to have to answer. My guess is that they're going to try to play Trae Young in more of a Steph Curry role, right? And so you'll hear people call Steph Curry a point guard, but is he really a point guard? Is he a point guard, a high-usage point guard, sort of like Harden and Doncic and LeBron and guys like that? No, he's really not. They're going to try to take Trae, I think, off the ball instead of every single possession breaking it down into a Trae Young, John Collins pick and roll, or a Trae Young, Clint Capella pick and roll. I think they're looking for somebody else to take those ball handling responsibilities off Trae and then have him just run like a maniac like Steph Curry does off the ball, almost like Rip Hamilton used to do back in the day. I think what you're going to see with this is anybody who's got any knowledge whatsoever of the sport of basketball knows that your percentage shooting the three-point ball is going to go up considerably when you're primarily catching and shooting and you're having sets run for you instead of having to create your own shot with step backs and or contested threes with shot clocks running down, pick and roll threes, stuff like that. That's just real difficult for a little munchkin like Trae Young, a little 6'2 guy, arguably 6'2 guy. So Trae Young running off picks and off screens and down screens and flares and just running sets for him on double down screens and letting Dejounte Murray take that ball handling load, which he's clearly shown he can do on a not so good team. He should really have no problem transitioning over here if they give him the ball and let him do his thing. The real question is Trae Young going to be okay getting off the ball, not having the ball in his hands as much, going from one of those high usage point guards to more like a Steph Curry type point guard. So that's really A very intriguing trade right there. It was honestly very shocking. If anything, and we're about to get to number one. I'm sure you guys know what number one is. It was the biggest trade of the offseason so far. May not finish that way, but so far it clearly is. But it's almost like Dejounte Murray would have been a better fit in Minnesota, and Rudy Gobert would have been a better fit to replace Clint Capella in Atlanta. But nevertheless, that's what happened. So number one, obviously no surprise here, Rudy Gobert for damn near everything Minnesota has. Let me read it to you. So Gobert goes from the Jazz. We know he and Spider Mitchell were not the best of friends. They cleared Gobert and his massive contract out of there for a 2026 first, a pick swap for 2026 with Utah, a 2027 unprotected first, a 2025 unprotected first, a 2023, that's next year, top 12 projected, which conveys to a second round pick. And then Leandro Balmoro, which is nothing. Jared Vanderbilt, which is a very good 4-5 type role player, one of the best rebounding rates in the NBA, and just a huge energy guy and a really good versatile defender. Walker Kessler, who's an intriguing prospect, and Utah's hoping that he can be Rudy Gobert light. He's shown a knack to block huge blocks per 40 minutes in college, just massive, led the nation. Patrick Beverley, who is obviously going to bring grit and grind and be a huge pain in the ass, but again, he's a little bulldog that's not going to back down from anybody, and that's kind of some of the stuff that Utah needs, to be quite honest with you, because they're kind of soft. Malik Beasley, who is a proficient three-point shooter, one of the top three-point shooters in the NBA from a volume standpoint, and a 2029 first-round pick, top 5 protected. So picks galore. Minnesota basically just sold the farm for Rudy Gobert, who is, by anybody's standards, not the prototypical 5 that you want to win a title in the NBA right now. I mean, if you go and look at who was contending for a title this year with the Celtics and the Celtics and the Warriors had nobody worth a damn in the paint, offensively or defensively. And the Celtics had Robert Williams and Horford, but Horford was really playing that pick and pop 4 role quite a bit and got away with being a positional 5 defender. Gobert can't move his feet. He can't guard pick and rolls. He can't pick and pop. He doesn't space the floor. It's going to be a weird situation with him and Towns trying to play together. I really don't know what's going on there, but I will say this. A starting 5 of D'Angelo Russell, if he can get out of his own way and just move the ball. Anthony Edwards, who is blossoming into probably a top 10 player in the entire NBA sooner rather than later. Jaden McDaniels, who is the prototypical 3-and-D, who doesn't need the ball in his hands, can guard 4 positions. If he puts on weight, he can be a serious problem as a 3-and-D on the wing, and he's super young and super talented and athletic and long and rangy. He checks a lot of boxes for that 5th X-Factor type starter. And then Towns and Gobert, which is the weird part, right? You've got 2 7-footers on the floor. My guess is Minnesota saw what Cleveland did with 3 7-footers on the floor. Lauri Markkanen, Mobley, who am I forgetting? Jared Allen. 2 of those guys are legit 5s, and they played those guys at the 3-4-5 together often and had great success this year. But I think a lot of that had to do with Darius Garland, number 1. And number 2, Cleveland didn't do a damn thing in the playoffs. And the last time a team won with 3 7-footers on the floor was probably in the 80s, if I had to recall. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. So, big question mark. How is Minnesota going to do this? I'm excited to watch it. They're going to be must-see TV because they already were because of Anthony Edwards, and I like Karl Anthony Towns. He's a super efficient 5 who can do a lot of different things. We'll see if Towns and Gobert can get along. Gobert's had issues getting along with people. Towns has had issues getting along with people. D'Angelo Russell's, not the most efficient guy around. I'm not sure he's the permanent answer at that point guard position. Towns and Edwards are going to eat up a lot of shots, and D'Angelo Russell's kind of a shoot-first point guard. So they may have needed a guy like Dejounte Murray in there who can really be an engine and a focal point and a ball mover and a guy that gets into gaps and creates for others. But nevertheless, it is what it is. So that's number 1 on my list of most intriguing moves. Let me know what you think about my list of the 10 most intriguing moves. Again, I'm not saying these were the 10 best. In fact, some of them were terrible. But some of them impressed me from a price point standpoint. Some of them impressed me, from a how are they going to fit standpoint. And then some of them were just, home run, knock it out of the park, no-brainer, fantastic pickups that may change the ability of a team to get over the hump, which unfortunately I think might be the case in Boston. So we shall see. Let me know which ones I missed. Let me know if there's some other moves in there. I didn't include Joker signing a max contract or Devin Booker signing a max contract. I mean, those are no-brainers. Who in their right mind wouldn't sign those guys to the max move? I mean, nothing changes with those teams or players or whatever. There's nothing intriguing about it. It was very predictable and very understandable. So I left those guys off the list. But that's what's left. Zach LaVine's another one. He could have snuck in here. Is he a max guy? Is he not? I'm not sure the Bulls had much of a choice. But Zach LaVine got all Andre Drummond's money. We know that from looking at this list. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. As always, keep collecting. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't yet. I'm going to do a lot of offseason NBA stuff. Obviously, there's no games to talk about, so we'll talk about some NBA moves. And in the next 3 days, I'm probably going to have another list of 10 more moves that have concluded since July 3rd. So thank you guys for watching. Keep collecting. Stay positive in the hobby. And peace. Enjoy your 4th of July too, guys.